Today I will talk about random variable. This is my first lecture on random variables and basically I'll talk about discrete random variables. In my next lecture I will talk about continuous random variables. Then I will talk about various statistical distributions or probability distributions. Then I'll talk about log likelihood and then I'll talk about Bayesian statistics, introduction to Bayesian statistics. So let us start. This is my lecture outline. First, I will give introduction. Then I'll talk about discrete random variable. Then I'll talk about probability mass function of discrete random variable. Then I'll talk about distribution function. Then I'll talk about expected value followed by variance. Then I'll talk about joint probability mass function, marginal probability mass function, conditional probability mass function. Then I'll talk about independent random variables, then movement generating function, and finally, I will give an example of discrete probability distributions. So a random variable x is a function from the sample space omega to a set of real numbers. So this is a function from the sample space omega to a set of real numbers. So we will see in detail. So a real number x associated to a sample point small omega in sample space omega is called a realization of random variable. So it is shown here. So these are realizations of this sample space. So these are realizations, and the set of all possible realizations is called support and is denoted by Rx. So this set of all possible realizations is known as the support of random variable. So for example, this is a sample space and we do an experiment or a trial and we get an outcome as small omega here. Then due to a function x, this small omega is converted into the realized value x. So we will see an example now. So for example, suppose we flip a coin once and the coin is unbiased. So our sample space is we get either tail or head because we flip it once only. And probability of tail and probability of head is equal to 1/2. And if we gain $1 if we get tail and we lose $1 if we get head. So this is the realization from the trial because the sample space is this combination of tail and head, that is this set, a discrete set, and the outcome is either tail or head, and the realization is 1 or -1. So the support of the random variable x is either -1 or 1. So this support is a discrete set. So probability that we gain $1 is probability of getting tail, which is half. Probability of losing $1 is probability of getting head, which is half. And probability of losing $2 in a single flip of coin is 0 because we cannot get two head in a single flip because we flip it once. So let us see another example. So if we flip 3 times a biased coin, if for a biased coin, probability of head is 3 times more likely than probability of tail. So let us see. So probability of head, suppose, is small p, and probability of tail is suppose 1 minus p, because these are exclusive events. So given that probability of head is 3 times more likely than probability of tail, so p is equal to 3 times 1 minus p. So we get p is equal to 3 by 4. So probability of getting head is 3 by 4 and probability of getting tail is 1 by 4. And our sample space, because we are flipping the coin 3 times, we may either get three heads, or we get two head, one tail in this sequence, or we get two head, one tail in this sequence, and we get two head, one tail in this sequence. We get two tail, one head in this sequence. So sequence is important. So there are total of the 8 events in this sample space. Suppose we get $1 if we get two heads, and we gain zero if the outcome is otherwise, and we flip the coin three times. The support of our variable x is either 1 or 0. So this is support, and probability of that x is 1, that is x is 1 if we get either of these outcomes. So each of these outcomes have probability of 1 by 8. So when we have OR operator here, we add all these probabilities and we get 3 by 8. So probability of gaining $1 is 3 by 8, and probability of getting nothing is 1 minus probability of getting 1, because only these two options are available. So that is 5 by 8. So this is how we calculate the probabilities in case of a biased coin. So there is another approach. In this, we can use the binomial probability distribution in this our example. So the example is saying that if the coin is biased and head is 3 times more likely than tail. So we calculate P of head, probability of head as 3 by 4. And since this is a binomial distribution problem, and the problem is as the appearance of head, I'm sorry, this is head, is a success, then probability of two success in 3 trials is given by this binomial distribution. So let us apply this binomial distribution in our case. We have P here 3 by 4, 1 minus P as 1 by 4, and the X is two heads, and N is the total number of trials. So we apply this and we get 3 by 8. So this is similar to our previous answer we got by the simple calculations on the basis of our sample space. So there are two kinds of random variables. One is discrete random variable and the other is continuous random variable. And this my lecture is on discrete random variable. So let us see what is discrete random variable. So a random variable x is discrete if its support is a countable set, and there is a function small p x. So this is a function and it range from 0 to 1 in continuity. This is way of writing a continuous set. Then this px is known as probability mass function or PMF or probability function of x. And this is the probability mass function. And we have probability of x as small x. So this capital X is our variable and the small x is the realized value of the variable capital X. So this is probability. We state the probability if x, that is the realized value, belongs to our support, and it is 0 if it does not belong to support. So this is the definition of the random variable. And the example is a Bernoulli random variable is an example of discrete random variable. It can take only two values, 1 with probability q and 0 with probability 1 minus q, and q range from 0 to 1. And its support is either 0 or 1. This is a discrete support. The probability mass function is defined as, this is the probability mass function. So probability that the realization is 1 is q. The probability that realization is 0 is 1 minus q. And if there is some other realization, then the probability is 0. So realization can only be 0 and 1 because its support is 0 and 1. So now let us see probability mass function, although we have seen in my previous slide. So probability mass function associates to any given number the probability that the random variable will be equal to that number. So these are the numbers. And the realization, if this realization is equal to 0, this is the probability. If this realization is equal to 1, this is the probability. If the realization is equal to 2, this is the probability. So this, the entire set from 0 to 1, the set of probabilities is the probability mass function. So a random variable x is discrete. This we have just seen, I am just repeating. If its support is countable and there exists a function small px called probability mass function such that small px, this function is defined as this. And this I have already told that small x is the realized value of the variable capital X. So probability mass function are characterized by two fundamental properties. One is non-negativity, that probability can only be more than or equal to 0 and it can be up to 1. So these are the two properties of probability mass function. Then we can plot the probability mass function. So since we have a discrete variable, so we only plot the bars here. We never draw a continuous line unlike the continuous uh, random variables. So this is an example of Poisson distribution. Now, how to generate probability mass function? This is the method to generate probability mass function. So if we have any function gx that is non-negative on the support, that is gx is always more than or equal to 0 for any x in the support set. So if we define the sum s is equal to sum of all the realized values, then the probability mass function is defined as the function divided by the sum which we have obtained as above. And the since the sum is strictly positive, so this function px is non-negative and it's also satisfy property 2 because of this, because if we sum entire thing we get 1. So this is how we generate probability mass function. So by this we can generate probability mass function. It is the function divided by the total. Then a little bit about distribution function. It is also known as cumulative distribution function. So let x be a random variable. The distribution function or CDF of x is a function capital Fx. And it ranges from 0 to 1 in continuity. And the definition is that capital Fx for a realization x is equal to probability that the variable is less than or equal to small x or realized value. So it is a probability that the variable is less than or equal to a certain value. So this is the cumulative distribution function. If we know the distribution function of a random variable x, then we can easily compute the probability that x belongs to an interval a and b. And for a discrete variable, this is the formula to calculate the probability of a variable between an interval a and b. Then expected value. If x is a random variable having support rx, probability mass function px, it is integrable if and only if the sum of the absolute value of x multiplied by probability mass function is less than or equal to infinity. If the summation is defined, then the condition called absolute summability guarantees that the expected value defined as this is well defined. So expected value is summation of the values of variable multiplied by the respective probabilities throughout the support. So this should be summation through all the support, entire support set. So the expected value of discrete random variable is computed with the formula this. And this is an example. If we have a probability mass function like the probability is 1 by 4 uniformly when x is in support and it is 0 otherwise, and the support is this discrete set 1, 2, 3, 4. So if the realized value is 1, the probability is 1 by 4. If the realized value is 2, the probability is again 1 by 4. If the realized value is 3, the probability is 1 by 4. And if the realized value is other than this support, the probability is 0. So this is how we calculate the expected value. So we sum over entire support, the multiplication of the uh, realized value multiplied by the probability. So this is how we sum it and we get the expected value as 5 by 2. Then let x be a random variable and a function g from real to real is a real function, and we define a new variable y. So y is a function of variable x. Then the expectation of y, which is defined as this. So this is how we get the expected value of our new variable y, which is obtained from variable x. So this is the transformation theorem. Then this is another property of the expected value. If we have a linear combination of x, that is a variable y is equal to a constant plus a constant multiplied by the variable, then expectation of variable y is equal to a plus b multiplied by expectation of x. And this is the extension of above example. So we have expectation of the linear combination of more than one variables is the uh, is this, that is the constant multiplied by the expectation of the original variable, and we sum over the all the variables. Then these are other properties of expected value. So expected value of a constant is a constant. The second property is monotonicity. If x is always less than variable y, then expectation of s is less than expectation of y. Then another property is non-negativity. If x is non-negative, then expectation is also non-negative. Then law of large number. Law of large number is a proposition that provides a set of sufficient condition for the convergence of sample mean to a constant. So if we take multiple samples and we take average of those samples, then it will become the average of the entire distribution. Then the expected value of product of two random variables is the multiplication of expectation of both. Then variance. The variance of a random variable measures the spread or dispersion of its possible values around its mean. It is calculated as the average of the squared differences between each value and the mean. So this is how we calculate. So it is the expectation of the difference between the value and its mean, which are squared. So these differences are squared and then we take expectation. So this is another formula for calculation of the variance. So here we just sum over the this product between the probability and the square of the deviations. And this is another formula. And the standard deviation is square root of the variance. So these are properties of variance. If we add a constant to a variable, then the variance does not change. If we multiply by a constant, then the variance is equal to constant square multiplied by variance of the variable. And linear transformation, similar to combination of both these, we have this formula. Then variance of a constant is 0, and variance of sum of two variables is sum of the variance of both the variables. And if we have linear combination of two variables, then we have the variance as this. So for example, this is the same example I have taken for expectation. So if we have a probability mass function, that probability is 1 by 4 when we have support as 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is a discrete support and the probability is 0 otherwise. So the expectation which we have calculated before was 5 by 2, and the variance is the formula which we are using here, and the variance is 5 by 4. So this is how we calculate the variance. Then a little bit about joint probability mass function. The joint probability mass function is a function that completely characterizes the distribution of discrete random vector. So instead of variable, we have a vector here. So uh, when evaluated at a given point, it gives the probability that the realization of random vector will be equal to that point. So this is the in mathematical terms. So let x is a k multiplied by one discrete random vector. So let this is a random vector composed of k values, and its joint probability mass function, which is defined as px. It is similar, which we have defined for random variable. The difference is that x is here a vector, and this small x is the realized value of the vector components. So where p x capital X is equal to small x is the probability that the random vector x takes the value small x. So this is an example. So if we have a vector here with the support like 1, 1, 2, 0, and 0, 0. So this is the joint support. That is the support of vector. And so the probability, joint probability mass function is defined as, in this example, 1 by 3 if the realization of vector is 1, 1, 1 by 3 if realization of vector is 2, 0, and 1 by 3 if realization of vector is 0, 0, and it is 0 otherwise. So this is about joint probability mass function. Then marginal probability mass function. The joint probability mass function can be used to derive the marginal probability mass functions of a single entries of random vector. So if there is a vector with multiple entries and we have joint probability mass function, then we can calculate the marginal probability mass function of each entry of random vector. So if Px and this is the actually the joint probability mass function of vector, and these x1 x2 are two components of vector x, then the marginal of the first component is defined as this. So it is the summation of the probabilities over the entire set of other components. And there were only two components in this vector example. We have x1, x2. So this summation is for entire x2. So in order to get the entire marginal, we need to compute px1 for first component separately for each x1 belonging to the support of x1. So we calculate for each realizations in the support of component x1, and the summation is over the all possible values of other components. So we will see in the example. So this is the generalization when there are more than two components. Then this is an example. So if like in previous example of joint probability mass function, I have taken the same thing. So if this is the support of the joint probability mass function, this one, and we have these realized values, and the probabilities are one third, one third, one third for each of these realizations. And these 1, 2, 0 and 1, 0, 0 are the realizations of the components. And this entire thing is a vector realization. So, so the support for the component X is, as we can see, it is 0, 1, 2, and support of component Y is only 0 and 1. Then we can calculate the marginal probability of first component at 0, first component at 1, and first component at 2. And we summate over the entire Y component here. So for the first component at 0, the marginal probability is one third. For first component at 0, the marginal probability is one third. And for first component at 2, the marginal probability is 1/3. So the probability of the marginal probability of first component, which is denoted as small x here. So this is the marginal probability here as 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 for the entire set of the first component support, sorry. Then conditional probability mass function. When the probability distribution of random variable is updated in order to consider some information that give rise to a conditional probability distribution, then such a conditional distribution can be characterized by conditional probability mass function. So we define conditional probability mass function as a conditional probability distribution. So let us see if there are two variables x and y, and these are random, discrete random variables. The conditional probability mass function of x, given that y has got some realization small y, and the function this, that is px, given that y, capital Y is small y, so y has one realization, then we need to get the probability mass function of x subject to this condition is known as conditional probability mass function. So we will see this in example. So first, for calculations, first we compute the marginal probability mass function of y by summing the joint probability mass over the support of x. So first we calculate the marginal probability mass function of y from the joint probability of these two variables. Then we compute the conditional probability mass function as follows. So we just divide these two probability distributions. So this example is here. So we have the joint probability distribution of variable x and y, and this is the joint support. So if the variable x is 0 and the variable y is 1, we have the probability 1/3, and similarly. So let us compute the conditional probability mass function of x given y is equal to 0. For this, since the support of y is 0 and 1, we calculate the marginal probability of the variable y at the point 0. So this is 2/3. So the simple thing to calculate the conditional probability mass function of x, we just divide the joint probability divided by the marginal probability of y at the point 0, because we need to calculate the probability of x subject to y is equal to 0. Then let us see the criteria for independent random variable. Two random variables x and y are independent if and only if their distribution functions satisfy this equation. And this is the joint distribution function, and these are the individual distribution functions of variable x and y. So if joint distribution function is equal to multiplication of distribution function of x and distribution function of y, the variables are independent. And similar is true for probability mass function. This is the joint probability mass function, and these are individual probability mass functions of variables x and y. So let us see an example. So we have this joint probability mass function of two variables, and this is the support, and this is the same example which I have taken before, because I am using same example just so that you can understand the subject better. So the support of x is 0, 1, 2, and support of y is only 0 and 1, and we calculate the marginal probability of x. So this is the marginal probability of x. Then we calculate the marginal probability of y, and then we multiplied the marginal probability of x and y, and we found that these two are different. So these are not independent, because this joint probability mass function here is not equal to the multiplication of individual probability mass functions. So these variable x and y are not independent, they are dependent. Then a little bit about moment generating function. So a moment generating function has great practical relevance because it can be used to easily derive moments. Its derivative at 0 is equal to the moment of the random variables. A probability distribution is uniquely determined by its moment generating function. So let x be a random variable. If the expected value of this transformation, that is exponent of t multiplied by x. So if the expected value of this transformation exists and is finite for all real numbers t belonging to closed interval, this subject to that h is more than or equal to 0, then we say that x possesses a moment generating function and this is the moment generating function. So if a random variable x possesses a moment generating function as mxt, then the n moment of x denoted by this exists and is finite for any natural numbers. And so the nth derivative of the moment generating function at t is equal to 0 is that moment. So let x be a random variable in an example and it is a Bernoulli distribution. So it has a support 0 to 1 because Bernoulli distribution have either 0 or 1, and the probabilities are p when x is equal to 1 and 1 minus p when x is equal to 0, and otherwise it is 0. Then the moment generating function is a transformation of this variable. Then the expectation of this transformation is this. We have already seen the formula for expectation. And by a simple calculation, we get the moment generating function of the Bernoulli distribution or Bernoulli's random variable as this. Now, the most common probability distributions which we use day in and day out are Bernoulli distribution. Its support is 0, 1, and the support is finite. Then binomial distribution, its support is the natural numbers here, and its support is finite. Then Poisson distribution, it is a set of all non-negative integer numbers, and the support is countable because of course it is discrete. And there are other discrete distributions also, which I'll talk about in my lecture on the statistical distributions or probability distributions. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.